Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I forgot to clear my throat again. Sorry. I wanted to start this video out with this. Link to is doing something special today. Check this out.
Hey, what's going on, family and friends? Ray Fuentes here, Community Director at Link2. A little birdie told me we're dropping the minimum investment threshold from $10,000 to $5,000 for both Ripple and Uphold for 24 hours effective this coming Thursday, July 7th at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're airdropping $1,000 back in XRP, the greatest and most liquid asset ever created, to all accredited investors that invest in both Ripple and Uphold for a total of $10,000. That's a 10% discount after the airdrop, and you have XRP in your Uphold wallet. Just another step closer towards being fully immersed into crypto, blockchain, aka the metaverse. I'm just kidding. These are all buzzwords. But the fact is, these cryptographic distributed ledger technologies are very real. These are new payment networks with real world use cases, and they're being rolled out right under our noses, concealed by NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and the SEC lawsuits, which won't be around for that much longer. Even attorney Jeremy Hogan, who's had his eye on the SEC versus Ripple case since inception, but not involved, tweeted out that he believes Judge Netburn will rule on the Hinman emails this week. And we all know the SEC does not want Ripple and the general public getting their hands on Hinman's emails.
All right, I'll stop right there, but that's a huge, what they're doing there at Link2 is massive. I'm going to put a link to this in the very top of this the description of this, because he's right. They can't let us see those Hinman emails, and apparently it's going to be this week. And at some point, this case has been going on for almost freaking 2 years. At some point, it's not going to be going on. What happens then? All right, here's a Forbes article. Check this out. And the wording of this article is really kind of misleading. This landmark law aims to end crypto as we know it. In 2023, as price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, XRP, rebound. Okay. Well, the gist of the reason they're saying it'll end crypto as we know it is they're basically saying the idea of all this was to be decentralized, but now this government is going to make everything trackable. Well, who has been telling you since I started this channel that you're never getting rid of the government? This idea that you're going to get rid of governments is a bunch of hooey, okay? All these Bitcoin people are down with the government, and it's going to be Bitcoin, and we're not going to need banks anymore. That's a bunch of teenager pap, okay? That's not going down. It's not going to happen. If it's decentralized, it's going to be controlled decentralization, because they're not going to take out all of the middlemen and all this stuff. That sounds good on paper, but it's not going to happen. They'll bring out the guns and the tanks, like Brad Garlinghouse said, before that really happens. Now, the UK is getting aggressive now. They're now trying to get their stablecoin legislation in place before summer break. That's what this is. If you remember, Senator Toomey at Consensus said that the US will have its stablecoin regulations in place probably this year too. That's a big deal. All right, check this out. Modern Consensus Appeals Court deals major blow to the SEC. And then John Deaton kind of summarizes this for us. These agencies cannot seek to stretch their power expansively, even when they believe they are advancing a larger public interest. This case, coupled with the SCOTUS EPA decision last week, is a clear signal to Gary Gensler: if Congress didn't authorize you to do it, you can't. Now, I don't think that Gary Gensler cares about anything other than what he's being told to do. And so I don't know that any of these cases are going to stop him from doing anything until someone physically stops him. Okay. As in, he ought to be removed from office. Now, this is a very good point made. Now, granted, this Caitlin Long is a Bitcoin maxi, but this is a very good point that she's making here about all of these, and it was made by BitBoy yesterday too. The SEC sues Ripple, but they did not sue all of these crypto lenders. They didn't sue Celsius. They didn't sue Voyager. Why would you go after Ripple, who's not doing any of that, but you go after them? You let them. In my opinion, they let them go because they knew what would happen. And they probably spurred on the government probably was involved in spurring on what happened. That way everybody runs into the arms of the regulators. Listen.
Is that the regulators, by slow walking the non-leveraged players, of which Custodia is one, they didn't give the market an alternative. And into that void of the slow walking that happened from the regulators filled all these fraudsters and, frankly, some criminals. And that's it. The regulators work both with action and inaction. And in this case, I think their inaction caused much greater problems. That was especially true with the SEC, which green-lighted the GBTC as the one and only way that folks could gain exposure to Bitcoin in their brokerage accounts for almost 6 years. And that created an incredible market distortion because it was a closed-end fund that ended up trading at a big premium to Bitcoin. That hurt retail investors, and all these leveraged Wall Street funds could come in and arbitrage that and pick off the retail investors. How was that good for the industry?
We often go from underreaction or too much hands to overreaction when it comes to regulation.
All right, enough of that. We know what the score is with these regulators. Procoin News, who is the official sponsor of the Digital Asset Investor Fishing and Hunting Club. And by the way, I did position a new deer stand this past week, and you will be seeing a view out of that deer stand. It's a good one. I've got a good one. Central banks continue to accumulate gold at record levels. Folks, pay attention to this. Pay close attention. Now, Monica Long was in the Ripple did a Ripple drop yesterday. Last time they did a Ripple drop, the music that they put over it was a copyright hit. And so I'm not going to play the video, but what they were talking about is the XLS-20, and they were talking about NFTs that are going to be built on the XRP ledger. And here it is right here. You can go to Ripple's channel, Ripple drop. Episode 27, XLS-20 on XRP Ledger. Very interesting Ripple drop. I did watch it. Now, James Phelan dropped this yesterday. The SEC has sought permission to file one omnibus big motion to exclude or limit expert testimony up to 120 pages. Now, John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan weighed in on this. Jeremy Hogan says they are moving to strike every single witness. Then John Deaton says, for over a year, I've described the SEC attorneys as 100% transactional and void of any logical strategy. Here, once again, they employ the wet noodle approach, throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. Well, the SEC is spending government money, in other words, free money. And so they don't have to worry about whether it's going to stick or not. And that's the problem. That's the problem you have here. Is that you have a government aid, all these government hacks, and they're spending money. They can spend money at will. In fact, I think they were just given another few $1 billion for not doing their job. That's the other thing. When you're in the government, you get rewarded for failure. So when you have a complete mess at the SEC, Congress will reward you for it instead of holding you accountable. And that's how sick our country is now. Then John Deaton tweeted this out. Looks like I have to sue the SEC over my Freedom of Information request for Hinman's calendar. Initially, the SEC argued his calendar was created only for his personal convenience and did not constitute an agency record. Can you believe such nonsense? Like nobody else utilized his calendar. Please note that any calendars that may exist were created by staff for their personal use and convenience. They were not distributed to other employees, so they could perform their duties and were not used to conduct agency business. Accordingly, these calendars are not agency records. Well, then why is Gary Gensler's agency records is what my question is. And then this, I'll finish here. U.S. officials who own cryptocurrency have been disqualified from working on the regulation that could have a direct, predictable effect on the value of their personal holdings by a government watchdog. And I retweeted this and I said, well, it's too damn late. The entire fake industry has been built around Bitcoin and Ethereum, both of which there is all kinds of conflicts of interest, of ownership by the politicians and the regulators, and nobody's ever seen what they own. So you're sitting here with an industry that has been built around this, and nobody has been held accountable for what they held and what they put in place. The Hinman speech, the free pass, the auto designation as a commodity for Bitcoin. Nobody said, well, what do you guys own? What do you guys own while you've been engineering all of this? What did Bill Hinman own? What did any other SEC officials own? Who were the people you were meeting with that were involved in getting the free pass, and what did they own? But Anders L. makes a very good point. So will this kill the Loomis bill then? Senator Cynthia Loomis discloses Bitcoin purchase worth up to $100,000. So I'm going to blow this up right here because he's making a very excellent point. I'm going to copy her in on this, and I'll screenshot that screenshot he's got there, because we need to know. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that we would like to know, is Cynthia Loomis going to pull her bill? Because now we've got a new, she's now disqualified from working on regulation that could have a direct and predictable effect. And we know that she owns Bitcoin. We know she's a Bitcoin maxi as far as I can tell.